Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words that are in your order of service. We light this flaming chalice to illuminate the world we seek. In our search for truth, may we be just. In our search for justice, may we be loving. And in loving, may we find peace. And now, all the kiddos or wannabe kiddos could come forward, and Reverend Pat will tell a story.
Y'all. Bring all your papers. You can bring all your stuff. Sylvia can bring all her stuff. It's okay. Okay, Ellery, you're gonna be my volunteer. You have to stay up here with me. Yeah, stay with me. So Ellery was once a girl. She was once a young girl. Is she still? Okay, this is a story. This is a story, okay? So she's playing a part today. She was once a young girl who was told that, she has to get her ear in position, okay? She was told that everything in the world was one thing, that it was all part of everything. Everything was part of everything. Even her chipmunk, even her otter was part of everything else. Even the floor that she was standing on was part of everything else. Even the chairs that we're sitting in, even the continually bouncing otter were all part of the same thing. And she didn't believe it. She didn't believe it. So one day she was out in the yard, stretch out here. Stretch out on the ground. No. That's a good stretch. That's a really good stretch. What I meant was get down and lie on your back.
Okay.
And Jim Price, you will notice I said lie on your back, not lay. So she was lying on her back, and the spider came along, and the spider could read her mind. And the spider said, Ellery, you don't believe that everything is one thing, do you? And you said what?
Yeah.
No. She said, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe everything is one thing. She said, when I look around, everything is separated. When I look over here, I see people, and I look over here, I see different people. Everything is separated. And the spider said, well, I'm going to explain this to you. I'm going to explain how everything is one thing. And the spider made a web. And she made the web big. She made it over a big part of a tree and a bush and everything. And Ellery looked over at the web. And she said, well, what's the point? And the spider said, take your otter and touch the web. So go ahead and touch the web with your otter. With the otter. So she touched the web with her otter, and the web moved. The whole web moved. And the spider said, now, touch the web over here in another place. Reach over here with your otter and touch it in another place. And the whole web moved. And the spider said, that's the way everything is. She said, everything is connected. Anytime you touch the web, at any point, everything moves. And it makes your otter bounce. No matter where you touch the web, everything you do touches everything else. Okay, y'all go to your class. If you ever want to learn what it's like to talk to a brick wall, do the story for all ages.
And now please stay comfortably seated as Mike Alec invites us with music into a place of worship and contemplation.
Actually, I'm going to, since we're starting with I know Morning Has Broken from Cat Stevens because that's how I learned how to play the guitar. So I'm going to continue with the Cat Stevens song. I've been happy thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be someday it's well. I've been happy dreaming about the world as one, and I believe it could be. Something good has begun. Out on the edge of darkness, there rides a peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Oh, I've been happy lately. I'm thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be. Something good has begun. The peace train sounding louder. Ride on the peace train. Ooh-ah-ee-ah, ooh-ah. Come on, the peace train. Oh, peace train, holy roller. Everyone jump upon the peace train. Ooh-ah-ee-ah, ooh-ah. Come on, the peace train. Get your bags together. Go bring your good friends too, 'cause it's getting nearer. Soon it will be with you. Come and join the living. It's not so far from you, and it's getting nearer. Soon it will all be true. The peace train sounding louder. Glide on the peace train. Ooh-ah-ee-ah, ooh-ah. Come on, the peace train. I've been crying lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in bliss? Way out on the edge of darkness, there rides a peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again. For peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Ooh-ah-ee-ah, ooh-ah. Come on, the peace train. Jump on the peace train. Hey, it's the peace train.
Mike, can you move your chair over here?
Yes, I'm going to move that chair.
Thank you.
Or either that or move to the other chair.
Or move to the other chair?
Yeah.
Whatever. Having you directly behind me was a little intimidating.
Yeah, it's a little bit distracting.
We'll tell him what you'll do. So you learned to play the guitar to Morning Has Broken.
Well, the Cat Stevens, this seminal albums, T for the Tone and T for the Friday.
T for the tone.
Hit after hit.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say on behalf of this congregation that we are certainly delighted you learned to play the guitar. I want to recognize Kara, because Kara is here for the third time. And I just think anybody who comes back 3 times, you give us hope. You really do, Kara. You give us hope. Maybe we're doing something right. Loretta Fadri is here. Loretta is here for the first time. Loretta, wave so everybody can see you. We're so delighted that you're here. And Peggy Rose is here for the first time. Peggy and Loretta are almost sitting together. So we do not require that of first-time visitors. You do not have to sit together. That's not one of the rules. Take a minute to breathe, or a few seconds anyway. Just take a breath. Notice the space. Notice this beautiful space that we're in. This beautiful building. And then, voila, there is space outside. The leaves are turning. I drive 75 miles to get over here. And I drive back roads because some of you will remember 2 weeks ago, I tried Interstate 85. It doesn't work. So I drive the back roads to get over here, and they are absolutely gorgeous. The trees are turning. It's a wonderful time of year. So just breathe the space. Breathe the space. Mike, I have to note that in Peace Train, the phrase "one world" is in there. One world. And in the spider web that Ellery didn't listen to me talk about, there was one world. One world. So we're all in this together. That's such a sweet belief. We're all in this together. It gives us such relief. The boozers and barnstormers standing on the shoreline. The ancient and the newborn reaching out for porcupines. We're all in this together. Common ground and common sky. John Donne deserves some credit for his line about the bell. It's ringing for the Nazis and the folks afraid of hell. It's ringing for the heroes and the sheroes we can't tell. We're all in this together. How we get out, none can tell. We're all in this together. When will we understand? We're all in this together. Why can't we all join hands? It's a lesson we could learn from watching glaciers melt. It's a lesson we've forgotten as hurt feelings have been felt. We're all in this together. Common ground and common sky. Y'all are mighty kind. Mighty kind. When I planned to sing that song, I didn't realize there would be such a contrast between my guitar playing and Mike's. But stuff happens. It feels as though we operate out of almost constant definition and redefinition. We wake up in the morning and we begin our assigned tasks. Although I quit drinking coffee for 2 months because I believed it would have a good effect on my sleep, I started back when I realized how important it is to stay awake while driving. Therefore, one of the ways I define myself has to do with making coffee. First thing in the morning. Gabriel also thinks it's very important that I define myself as well-dressed. One of my credit cards was stolen once, and the women who worked at my bank agreed that it had to have been stolen because the thief used it at a high-end men's clothing store. They said I would never be in one of those stores. My high school principal told me once that he felt sorry for my parents because I was obviously breaking them up buying clothes. I wore the same camouflage army jacket, t-shirt, and blue jeans to school every day. Well-dressed is not one of the ways I define myself. Coffee maker, yes. Well-dressed, no. We define ourselves politically, religiously, or by the lack thereof, socially, along socioeconomic strata, intellectually, or by educational levels. Here's a funny story. A buddy of mine ran a furniture store. He got in a horrible argument with a lawyer at a party. They went back and forth and back and forth. And finally, the lawyer said, I have to be right because I'm a lawyer and all you do for a living is move furniture. The furniture mover conceded the point. We have to be careful. UUs generally fail to attract poor people, Black people, Latinx people, even LGBTQ people because despite our declarations of inclusive values, we are, for the most part, very straight, very middle class, and very white. This is not a condemnation, it's just an observation. And by that observation, I would say we need to be careful. This is a strong community. For the most part, we like each other. But as Autumn and I discussed over the phone Tuesday, it can be a danger to get too close and see ourselves as a tight-knit family. First-time visitors might not feel embraced by us, welcomed, encouraged in their own spiritual and social engagement, work, and play. I did check with Laura Daly, and she said it was okay to tell you that she has felt welcomed and embraced by this congregation. She couldn't be with us today because she is eating chili and playing cornhole at a school event. Play is awfully important.
Most religious organizations take themselves way too seriously. We know the value of humor here, and we admire George Carlin when he says, reality, what a concept. Widely and deeply, we have felt the life raft of community as we have read Jim Price's words about Sue Friday's recovery, and we have felt his childlike joy at every positive turn. Let me read to you the dispatch that came last Thursday morning. Sue can now walk without a walker, albeit still a little shaky. However, last Friday and Saturday, it was all she could do to stand, using a walker to pull herself up. We had assumed she'd be using a walker for a while. While she's making remarkable progress and still has very busy days with several therapies, the doctor told her today they expect to release her October 26th, and that has now been moved up to October 25th. No doubt this is so she can continue to gain strength and confidence. The mattresses, pillows, and food are wearing thin. She's more and more herself, getting anxious to go home. This is such a blessing after this long nightmare. She appreciates so much your kind thoughts, gestures, and prayers. Add heartfelt thanks to your prayers now. Our girlfriend's back. Thank you for loving Sue, signed JP. Now, I would note that there was only one exclamation point in that dispatch. But when Jim writes, the exclamation points are implied throughout. Naomi and Eddie are grateful for your loving support. Tim Brown is grateful for your loving support. Kelly O'Shea is grateful for your loving support. Larry Burchett is grateful for your loving support, having had a stroke 2 weeks ago, but not a major stroke. In fact, a stroke from which he feels like he is going to recover 100%. And Larry and Regina couldn't be with us today because they're coming home from a camping trip. But she has promised me pears. Others have felt, Harvey had a rough ride a few months ago, and he's felt our love and support. Others have dealt with sickness or other stressors, and we are all grateful to be part of this community. Nancy Embry and Natalie Hellig keep their ears to the ground and their eyes peeled for chances to enhance the pastoral care of this life raft of community. Cards, emails, and phone calls literally build this life raft over and over as we face crises and bumps in the road. Some of you may think I'm belaboring the point. In fact, you may have that thought every time I speak. I do tend to belabor the point. So let me tell you a story. In 1986, I violated the professional ethics of a journalist by raising money to support 3 local school board candidates. My boss suspended me without pay for 2 weeks. It was a time in my life when I had 0 cash reserves and was literally living paycheck to paycheck. Or as one friend pointed out to me when I told him this story, how about no paycheck to no paycheck? As word spread through the community, the local teachers union, which was also supporting my candidates, passed the hat. The president of that union showed up on my front porch with an envelope filled with cash, and I was able to pay my bills. Some of you know that I have spent a lifetime passing the hat. Many people in crisis have benefited from my hat passing. But when the shoe was on the other foot, the emotion was overwhelming. That local teachers union gave me support in ways that are almost beyond my ability to describe. Angels at the manger could not have meant more. We truly are all in this together. Loser and winner are just words applied to one moment in time. Even the World Series produces one winner and one loser, despite the fact that both teams won their respective league pennants in order to play in the World Series. Maybe one of the best examples of winning, only lasting for a moment, is summed up in the story of Moonlight Graham, the small town doctor played by Burt Lancaster in the classic 1989 film Field of Dreams. Graham only played half of one inning in one game in the major leagues. In the film, The small town doctor says, coming this close to your dream and then watch it pass by you like a stranger in a crowd. At the time, I didn't think much of it. We don't recognize the most significant moments in our lives while they're happening. I thought there would be other days. I didn't realize this was the only day. He later became a medical doctor and served the small town of Chisholm, Minnesota for 50 years and fitted children with used eyeglasses each Saturday at no cost. The character in the movie claims to have been born in Minnesota, but the real-life historical character of Moonlight Graham was actually born in North Carolina. And his brother, Frank Porter Graham, served just over a year in the U.S. Senate from North Carolina. His brother was defeated in 1950 after his opponent, Willis Smith, circulated a photograph of Graham dancing with a black woman. My mother used to talk about that campaign as if it happened yesterday. And she said Frank Porter Graham was as fine a man as ever came along. He was also the first president of the Consolidated University of North Carolina system. No doubt Mama would have admired his brother too, the small town doctor who fitted glasses for children for free as well. What's your definition of winners and losers? Are we all in this together? Is this life raft of community worth building over and over? Kara's starting to think so. She's over here for the third time. What if we bought the lie that it's a dog-eat-dog world and we'd better look out for number one? You've likely heard me say this before, that there are two kinds of selfish people in the world. There are the selfish people who hoard and clutch and only do for those closest to them, their immediate families, and maybe not just a few close friends. And the other kind of selfish people are like most of us, people who dream a world where we can all take care of each other, where poverty, race, sexual orientation, and gender identity are not the final definitions of who people are. That second group of selfish people wants to selfishly build a world, yes, an entire world, yes, Cat Stevens, one world of caring, kind, generous, giving, loving celebration. Those people are selfish because the self we seek to nourish is the total self of the human race. Not individuals separated off into country clubs or armies ready to march into battle, but the total self that includes a 7-year-old girl in a refugee camp, and yes, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg too. Elaine even has a bumper sticker on the back of her car that says "One Human Family." Anytime our identity comes from this ultimate inclusive life raft of community, we are living out Unitarian Universalism at its best. Now, what do you have to say? Sandy and I are going to allow for talk back. Well, we haven't always, Sylvia. It's a new thing. Talk back is a new thing for this congregation.
Not all change is bad, really. Comments, questions, expressions of hostility, disgust, or dismay?
I mean, the most brief of comments is, we are all in this together, whether we like it or not.
Whether we like it
We
or
really
not.
are. We
Yes.
act like it.
Yes. And when you touch any place on the web, the whole web moves.
You don't get to opt out of it.
That's right. That's right. Sylvia said we really are all in this together. The reason I repeat it is because the people on the live stream can't hear Sylvia. Anybody else? Yes.
It is interesting to note, and I have just visited 4 times, that the UU principles remain constant through our 4 congregations in our area.
Right.
The dynamics of the group differ. Unfortunately, not the color of our skin necessarily. but certainly our experiences.
I'm going to try
And
to.
my ultimate wish, having been involved in 2 UU churches for decades, is that one day we will be able for the 4 congregations, or at least 3 of them in our immediate North Mecklenburg area, to be together, not necessarily as one, but occasionally.
That would be wonderful.
To experience the diversities of each. Having been blessed by being with other UU congregations, this one is very special. But, and the others are too, I'm not cutting down at all. But it's just sort of exciting to be with y'all.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much.
And there's so much that we share. And I hope that one day that each of y'all, as well as myself, will be able to gather together on occasion just to experience each other's personalities and distinctions.
Thank you for that. I'm going to try to summarize it. I think what you would love is for all the local UU congregations to occasionally be together and experience each other's diversity.
Maybe at the farm.
Maybe at the farm. Yay, that's great. That's great. You willing to cook? Okay, good. They'll be
We
cooking.
can
Good.
have about 120.
Okay. Jim,
You'll be interested to know the animal ministry took kids up to Lazy Five last year, I think it's last year, and we invited the kids from all the UU churches, and we're planning to do that again.
oh, that's great. That's great. The animal ministry is going to take the kids where?
Lazy Five.
To the Lazy Five Animal Farm. Great, great.
And we will invite the other congregations.
That's great. That's wonderful. I've spoken in UU congregations in 11 states, and I have never found UU congregations to be anything but welcoming, embracing, kind, generous. Some people are jerks, but not many, not many.
Jerks need love too.
Jerks need love too. That's right. And not all change is bad. Yeah.
You can learn a lot from jerks.
You can learn a lot from jerks. Is that the voice of personal experience?
I'm an old woman. Yes, sir.
You've been around the track
Couple of times.
a couple of times. Anybody else? All right.
You can stay. No, you can't. No, you can't.
I have work to do.
You got work.
I'm going to try to reflect.
I think I have a song that might fit.
Let's find my plectrum.
Capo. In Britain, they call it capo. It's a capo. I was young and so outrageous. Hey, the weather was contagious, but I'm sliding down that slippery slope today. Can you get your head around it? Lost until you found it. I'm looking for a little hand today. Ooh, hallelujah, what's it to you? Jump on up, let it through ya. Hey, everybody's looking for a way. Hallelujah, get it through ya. Jump on up, let it move ya. Everybody needs a hand today. That's what I'm saying. I was lost in Encinitas. I was kicked by senoritas, but the sun was getting hotter by the day. Can you really comprehend it? No way you can mend it. I'm looking for a corner in the shade. Ooh, hallelujah, wants it to you. Jump on up, let it through ya. Everybody's looking for the way. And hallelujah, get it through ya. Jump on up, let it roll ya. Everybody needs a hand today. Now I'm back in the Yazoo City, licking wounds, man, it ain't pretty. I'm selling everything I've ever saved. I don't need no silver platters. Give me one darn thing that matters. Time is rushing by me like a wave. Ooh, hallelujah, what's it to you? Jump on up, let it through ya. Hey, everybody's looking for a way. Hallelujah, get it through ya. Jump on up, let it do ya. Everybody needs a hand today. Everybody needs a hand today. Everybody needs a hand today. Woo. Thank you for that hand today.
That's a good way to get a hand.
It's all you, Sam.
Thank you, Reverend Pat, and thank you, Mike. We needed that, all of that. Perfect. This fellowship is important to us all, and we've just gotten chapter and verse on that. The contributions we make today allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and to reach out to the community, both nearby and in the larger world. Your giving affirms our commitment to each other and to the community.
Oh, it's on the chair. Break music.
With grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. Please look at the announcements in your order of service with me for a second. Possibly the most important one is that next week we'll be collecting our kids wearing lovely costumes. We'll be collecting food items, non-perishable stuff, canned stuff that we will share with the Angels and Sparrows community table in Huntersville. And after they collect all of the stuff we bring on Sunday, they will, or before that, they will go on Halloween, whatever day that is, to Earth Fair in Davidson, where they had vast success last year collecting stuff. Angels and Sparrows is a wonderful place because they let the kids come in and pack the boxes and have hands-on experience with the next step in the supply chain. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in the postcard project. People did it as they were traveling around. Jim wrote cards at the hospital. Everybody just did what they could when they could do it. And I think we sent out about 1,200 handwritten cards to our neighbors in Cabarrus County saying, go vote, it's really important. Are there any other announcements I have neglected or forgotten? Agnes.
I just wanted to remind everybody that the pledge letters have been sent out. Can everybody hear me?
The people at home can't.
Maybe you could recuse.
Just a reminder that the pledge letters have all gone out, and we'd really love it if you could get them back to us by November 6th. If anybody didn't get a pledge letter, just let me know, and I'll send you one. That's it.
Thanks. The reason we lean on people to get the pledges back is it's really mysterious making a 2023 budget if we haven't a clue as to what the expected revenue might be. It's supposed to balance, I'm told. Our closing song today is
95.
95. There is more love somewhere.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
And you may be seated. I had very different closing words picked out for today, but I've been inspired. My heart's been lifted by what I've heard today. And I just want to say to you, and to you, and to you, and to you, that if y'all keep coming back, Mike Alec will be here.
Say with me the words in your order of service for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we're together again.